Welcome to the Nerd Edification Hour. I'm Jeremy.
I'm Remy.
And as you can tell, Caleb and Rachel are not here today, so it's just me, and I brought Remy in to help me out with it. So we are going to be just kind of going over some of our gaming news. We have a lot of movie news to actually cover today.
Yeah.
Apparently there was a pretty good movie event that went on. They talked a lot. Have our nerd vocab and a little bit of science news to round it out. So, do you want to go and start us off?
Sure, I'll go ahead and start off with saying that The Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past and Super Metroid are actually now on the 3DS, the new
Woo!
3DS. Yes, it's amazing.
As much as I ranted and was so mad that I was like, I'm not going to get the Super Nintendo games because I've already bought them on the Wii. I've already bought them on the Wii U. They don't remember. I'm not going to buy them again. And then they released Link to the Past and Super Metroid, and I'm like, here you go. I'll take those. And they run beautifully. I mean, beautifully.
Seriously, they do.
Because they do have the perfect pixel mode is what they call it, where it runs in the exact aspect ratio, pixel for pixel, as the original game. And so pretty.
It's seriously, you can't beat it. I mean, especially looking like the old SNES.
Speaking of can't beating things, we've got the Super Mario Brothers world record has been beaten in near perfect run.
Wow.
Which is kind of funny when you're getting to the point, the difference between the last one is in milliseconds. So speedrunner Darbian has officially beat the game with a record 4 minutes, 57.260 seconds, compared to his original 4 minutes, 57.427 milliseconds. He's only shaved off a few milliseconds, but at this point it's becoming even more impossible to shave off more time with each run. Because of this, he also announced his retirement, being quoted in the comments as saying, "I have reached my potential in this category. I'm done. My quest is over."
I would hope.
How gaming related is this? My quest is over. Now who do I turn this into?
Sounds more Zelda-like in my opinion. But
Lord.
Little fun side note on that too. Basically, he actually did this on a real console.
Official NES.
Yes.
Original.
He also rigged the stream to actually show his heart rate as he played through, and it was funny because towards the end, he basically you could see the heart rate go up as he was reaching it, and it got as high as about 172 beats.
Yeah, he was like, "Wait a minute, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do it." Which I wonder, like, even if you're doing a good run, how can you tell your milliseconds better? I guess maybe you just happen to know some of the timed clocks, but because by the time you realize it, the clock's already moved on.
Yeah, so you just get so used to it.
Who knows? All right, so jump ahead here, moving a little quick. There's actually been an unknown Neo Geo game has been found.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's actually playable. It's in a fighting game. Last month, Neo Turf Masta. What a name! I love it. He bought an old Neo Geo test board for $750, and after messing around with it for a while, made the discovery that there was actually a prototype Neo Geo fighting game installed on it that was still there for testing. Nothing's known about the game. No one's come forward to say, hey, this was our production. They don't know who originally had it. The art assets, some of them are kind of finished. A lot of them are really rough because it was still a beta. I mean, the graphics and stuff don't really fall into place until later.
Exactly, yeah.
But it was far from complete with no UI or user interface or sound, and much of the character art, like I said, wasn't final. It does show 12 characters, the background art, and some semblance of a playable game. Like they could actually play around with it, mess around with it.
Wow.
They showed a video of it being playable on MAME, so they might make it available for people to download and try out later, which I'm actually curious. I mean,
yeah,
it's not really stealing because it was never existed. I don't know.
True, yeah.
Talk about a gray area. But they did bring it recently to the Midwest Gaming Classic, which is I'd love to go there one day. People bring like old arcade machines, classic systems, and you just play them.
Yeah.
So people got to mess around with it for real.
Ooh.
But I mean, that'd be nuts. Just oh yeah, I bought this on here. This is great. Oh look, here's a game no one's ever played before.
Yeah, an amazing.
I hope they like fighting games because.
Yeah, I mean, should. I'm not over the name too. Just Neo Turf Masta.
Yeah, that's. You can tell he looks for Neo Geo stuff, but I guess the Neo Geo's his turf, man.
He's the Tough Master.
Oh. The horror. All right, moving on.
Moving on, yeah. A Minecraft Education Edition actually is going to be arriving in May, according to Microsoft. Apparently, Microsoft plans on running a beta program for 100 schools from 30 countries worldwide who will test this software in their classrooms. Apparently, It will be available in 11 languages and 41 countries.
Yeah, right now it's kind of like this is the beta test phase where they're like, okay, we're going to give it out to these schools. They're going to put the orders in to get it. And then from there, they'll run through it trying to figure out curriculums that'll work with it, find any bugs, things like that. They'll tweak it and go forth. And once they actually release it to everyone, they'll go from there. Now, this is actually the game originally came after Microsoft acquired the learning game maker Teacher Gaming LLC, which pretty clear what they did. They developed an educational Minecraft called Minecraft EDU, which they took the original Minecraft and just kind of built worlds and things around it to help teach some of these functions. And this brings it all into the actual world itself built in for the teachers. So
yeah,
it's a cool way because a lot of schools were already using Minecraft for educational purposes. They could use it for like, all right, here's the different biomes, how the different parts of the world are, how things interact with each other. There's basic physics they could work with. So they just took it and ran with it, which ended up being good. Yeah,
I could see a lot of science stuff being used by particularly chemistry with the crafting and just going crazy with it.
Now, this kind of, people are like, well, why'd you want to have it in educational? Well, the other story we have is Minecraft is still selling 10,000 copies a day.
Still.
This was revealed in a recent New York Times Magazine story. I mean, that's crazy. This game came out years ago.
Yeah.
Now, kind of fun little facts they included in here. The average Minecraft player is between 28 and 29. That's really specific.
That is.
And around 40% are women. So it's a pretty good balance on there because it's Minecraft. You're a blocky person. You build things.
Exactly, terrain building.
Now they went on and talked about teenagers' actual preference to it. They actually prefer the game does not guide you through what to do, or at least the PC version, because the consoles added in some of the tutorials back in December.
Yeah.
To try and help out a little bit because they had the extra controls.
Exactly.
But this contrasts from many of the big games which show you how to do everything. So from here, they kind of actually like finding this stuff out. Clive Thompson, the guy that wrote the article, stated this "you're on your own" ethos resulted from early financial limitations. Working alone, Pearson, who's the guy that created Minecraft, had no budget to design tutorials. That omission turned out to be an inadvertent stroke of genius, however, because it can't even speak today. Engendered a significant feature of Minecraft culture, which is that new players have to learn how to play.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, I mean, when you start it off, it's like, all right, cool, don't die, have fun,
immersion. Here you go, learn.
For the longest time, I'm like, oh, there's something over there. Is that going to hurt me? I don't know. So, all right. So we'll go ahead and jump over to our movie and TV news. We're just kind of moving right along, aren't we?
Yeah, we're actually going really quick on this one. Doctor Strange, the first trailer has been revealed.
Yay!
Yes, it looks amazing. It really does.
Yes.
Benedict Cumberbatch is Doctor Stephen Strange.
Yep.
So it's going to be
Stephen Strange.
Oh.
This is kind of, they're setting up more of the magical side of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. They started a little bit with Thor, and they kind of made mention, like, what you think is magic, we think, in science is kind of the same, but this one's going just straight out into magic. Like, it looked trippy.
Oh, it was amazing.
One of my favorite parts, I guess, were the Ancient One was teaching him something. He just, like, hits him in the chest, and you see his spirit form just get booted out, and he's like, wait a minute, where am I?
Kind of had a little bit of Inception in there, too.
Yeah, a lot of that with the moving of the worlds and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this will tie in with some of the later cinematic universe because, of course, we already know they're leading towards the Infinity Gauntlet and things like that.
Yeah.
Which is, the Infinity Gems. They know 4 of them now where they came from because they had the Tesseract. There's the Mind Gem that's in Vision's head now.
Mm-hmm.
You've got the Power One that was from Thor: The Dark World.
Yeah.
And then one of the other ones. I don't remember which one it was. But there's 2 of them left that they don't know. Oh, the Power One from Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yes,
that's what it was.
Yes.
Had to bring that back. I should know this. So there's 2 more that we don't know of, and a lot of people are starting to wonder. Like, Doctor Strange always had something called the All-Seeing Eye that was kind of like a little gem he had on his cloak. Yeah. And the way it's been redesigned, it kind of looks like it might be one of the stones as well. Which brings up the whole point of later on, Thanos is supposed to get all these back. We already know Vision's probably going to have that thing torn out of his head, which means Stephen Strange gets to go against him and lose the eye or something.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. It's interesting. But moving on with the Marvel cinematic stuff, Spider-Man Homecoming was kind of a surprise reveal from Sony.
Yeah.
They announced it during Sony Pictures' CinemaCon presentation. This will be the first solo film for Spider-Man in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and is another part of the deal struck between Sony and Marvel to bring the old webhead back to the main Marvel Universe. Tom Holland will still be in the role after he will first appear as Spider-Man in Captain America Civil War next month. Now, a little side note, Michael Keaton is possibly rumored to be up for the role of the classic Spider-Man villain, the Vulture. But, nothing is really known at this point.
It's Sony. What do you expect?
Yeah, I was talking to some of the other guys earlier, and with Rachel, and she loves Michael Keaton because she's obsessed with Beetlejuice and things like that. And I was like, we'll just have Michael Keaton in every role, and she kind of laughed about it. I was like, well, no, think about that. You got Michael Keaton trying to be a high school Spider-Man, and then think about the fact to be Michael Keaton as Aunt May, and she just lost it. She was like, we're done.
That'd be an interesting film, though.
Yeah, little is known about it other than being in high school, because we know this is a younger Spider-Man than what was originally in Civil War.
Yeah.
Which even that one's going to be a young one. But the original comic book of Civil War, Parker was a full-grown adult. They're kind of toning it back and going to the other side of it.
Gotcha.
But we do know it's scheduled for July 7th, 2017 to come out. So they're just popping these movies out like crazy.
I know. Marvel.
Yeah.
Bang, bang, bang.
Right out. All right. Now, this next one I thought it was a joke.
Didn't we all?
Yeah, we did. Lay it on us.
MIB 23. It's actually unveiled with logo art. It really is a true thing. With the original leak from the Sony emails back in 2014, it was considered literally to be a joke, but it's actually confirmed to be an actual movie in the works. Production should actually start in around June. It's going to be interesting. Basically, MIB 23 would see the characters from Men in Black crossing over with 21 Jump Street. So it's...
We have no idea what's going on, but just the idea behind that, it's like, all right, we've got, the same two characters popping up, because Sony did say that James Bobbin will be directing, which he's the guy that did the Muppets and the upcoming Alice Through the Looking Glass.
Yep.
But Channing Tatum and Jonah Hill will be in it, so it's basically we're taking the next 21 Jump Street film, which was supposed to be called 23 Jump Street.
Yep.
Because I kind of like the fact they were doing that 21, 22, 23. But they're going to have them be involved with Men in Black. But from the Men in Black side of it, Will Smith and Tommy Lee Jones are said not to be involved.
Depressing, to be quite honest. But
well, I mean, they were two people in an entire group, so we can kind of go either way on that one.
True.
Because there's so many Men in Black in the films.
Yeah.
Because they've shown, they've got all the different letters of the alphabet, whatever else they want to add in. But 21 Jump Street, you are pretty much tied down to those two main ones. If they tried to show anybody else, there's nothing really special about them to show.
Yeah.
So it would be kind of weird.
Yeah, it's still going to be interesting. What Channing Tatum, Jonah Hill.
That's the other one I watched last night. I ended up rewatching 21 Jump Street. Because after reading this, that film is just so funny. So, all right. So we'll go on to our next one here. More announcements from the CinemaCon in Las Vegas. From Thursday, James Cameron popped up and was talking and decided to announce 4 Avatar sequels.
4.
The one movie's almost as long enough to be 4.
Yeah, it really could. James.
They got a lot out of the Pocahontas story. But yeah, so it's going to be 4 sequels. And not only that, he already has dates. They're going to roll out for Christmas 2018, 2020, 2022, and 2023. We've gotten to the point now that we're announcing movies that sound like Mega Man titles. I mean, remember we had Marvel had the Spider-Man 2099 comic book series. Now we're like, oh wow, that's actually going to happen.
Yeah. Oh my lord.
But Cameron was stated saying, "We have decided to embark on a truly massive cinematic process." I think he's just lost his mind.
He might have, seriously.
He's got the money and the ability. I mean, these could be good films, but it's just, wow. It's going to be huge.
Yeah.
Originally had only planned 2 sequels to the 2009 film before expanding it to 3 back in 2013.
So he went from 2 sequels to 3 and then to a 4th one.
They were like, how much money can we make?
Billions.
Now, here's one that it won't make a bunch of money, but it's one that I really want to see because it's a series I find stupidly funny.
Who doesn't?
Go for it.
Third Bill and Ted. It's on the way.
Excellent.
Yeah. So it would follow Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure and Bogus Journey.
And the first two films.
Yeah, exactly. And would it continue the adventures of Theodore Logan by Keanu Reeves and Bill Preston Esquire, played by Alex Winters.
Yes, you said it correctly. Esquire.
Yes. Winters actually stated during an interview with Forbes that we've been working on it for like 6 years. So we're knee deep in the script. So it's been written by Chris Matheson and Ed Solomon, who wrote the first two. They're fantastic writers, and the script is great. We have a script, we have a director, and we have a studio. So we're just trying to nail down a start date. So it's gonna
So I mean, and they showed pictures of them, which is kind of funny seeing him now. And I didn't include it in here, but like he kept getting asked, like, so are you sure Keanu's gonna be in? He's like, no, we're just gonna make a movie that's just me. Of course Keanu's in it. Like we can't do that, you know. We can't have Bill, just Bill's adventure. It's got to be Bill and Ted. So Keanu wants to do it badly. He's coming back.
Oh, that's gonna be great.
So I'm curious how they're gonna do it because sadly, George Carlin was one of the major characters in there, and he's no longer here. So
yeah.
They're either going to have to explain that away or have someone else take his role or figure out how to do that. I almost kind of wish they'd just explain it away. Because it's George Carlin. You can't just replace George Carlin that easily.
You can't. Seriously.
All right. So we'll go ahead and finish up on... This is an interesting topic here, but on our movie news, AMC theaters are thinking about allowing texting during movies. Really, Remy?
Can't help it. What?
So it could be originally they have come out since earlier today and said that they've taken this idea and it's basically like on the cutting room floor. It's gone away. But originally it was going to be limited to certain sections or auditoriums to appeal to millennials. Which I love how they word that. AMC Entertainment head Adam Aaron stated, "When you tell a 22-year-old to turn off the phone, don't ruin the movie. They hear, please cut off your left arm above the elbow. At the same time, though, we're going to have to figure out a way to do it that doesn't disturb today's audience. What may be more likely is we take specific auditoriums and make them texting friendly," which just sounds horrible.
Mm-hmm.
Put the phone away.
Wait, what? No.
No. Turn off your phone.
No.
You're of this age. Put the phone away. That's a horrible idea. I go to a movie, and there's already enough problems with people that forget to turn their phones off.
Yeah.
Or the last movie we went and saw, like every once in a while, someone was blatantly, like you'd see flashes from the front row where they're taking pictures with the flash.
Yeah.
If you're going to do it, guys, it's illuminated. Turn off the flash. You're distracting us, and you're ruining your picture because it's not going to turn out right.
Exactly. You would think that even after all this time, because even though I'm grouped with the millennials, that this would be common sense. I mean...
A lot of them, they want their phones. They have to have it at all times. Heaven forbid they miss out on something. If it's that bad, kids, and I will say kids because I'm old enough, just wait and watch it on Netflix.
Seriously.
That way you can stream it on the phone that you don't ever want to put down.
Exactly. I mean...
I'm glad they decided not to do this, but could you imagine? Like, I would be like, is this a, they used to have like smoking and non-smoking sections. Is this a texting or non-texting movie? I'd like the non-texting, please.
I'm trying to also think maybe they just erect a massive wall in between.
I would still hear that. Look, you paid money to watch this giant, beautiful screen. Quit looking at the stupid one in your hand. I mean, do I text before a film? Yeah, I'm messaging friends, stuff like that. I bring my 3DS and I'll play around with it and so forth. But as soon as the trailers start to go, I shut it. I'm done. I don't mess with it. And that's it. And I actually enjoy the film. And then afterwards, maybe I'll call someone and we'll talk about it. Or, actually have a discussion. But I've never actually sat there and just done that.
Yeah, I was about to say, who doesn't? I mean, you always do the, okay, I'll be right back. I'm going to go watch a movie. And what? So
the only person I've ever seen actually do something, we went and saw Deadpool. Bring up Rachel again. She actually brought a notepad and pencil and was taking notes. And I was like, that's actually okay. You're taking notes. You're not distracting anyone. You're not taking pictures and typing.
Yeah.
I was like, see, if you really need to say something, just make a note. Do it later. Whatever.
There you go. Perfect.
All right. So that's it for our movie news. Kind of moving up here. So we're going to go ahead and do our nerd vocab.
Woo.
which for this week, the nerd vocab is interstellar. Situated or occurring between stars. Example being interstellar travel.
Yes. Anytime I think of this word, again, I think of Star Trek. Just you're going between two stars at warp speed. So.
Ironically, I don't think of the actual movie Interstellar.
I don't either.
I haven't seen it yet. That's why. It's on my list. I need to watch it. I know it's a great one. I just never seem to catch it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, so the story that comes from, we have. Do you want to cover this one?
Sure, I'll go ahead and take this one because it actually does have to do with interstellar travel too.
Yep.
Stephen Hawking and Yuri Milner want to build an interstellar spaceship. Basically, they have a joint announcement at the One World Observatory in New York City on April 12th. They basically said that they're unveiling the Breakthrough Starshot. It's a $1 million research and engineering. $100 million. I'm sorry. Research.
You were 100% off.
It's a research and engineering program actually seeking to lay the foundations for eventual interstellar voyage. So the first steps actually involve building a light-propelled nanocrafts that can travel at relativistic speeds. Relativistic, my apologies. As you can tell, I can't speak today.
Big words.
Yeah, oh no. That can travel up to 20% the speed of light.
That's actually a ridiculous velocity.
That's insane. It's such high velocities. Basically, the robotic spacecraft would pass Pluto in 3 days. 3 days.
Take a long weekend. I'm going to leave the solar system. Take a 1 week vacation. You can go out and back.
Yeah. Oh my.
I don't know how you get back.
Good luck.
It takes lasers to throw you. You're going to need lasers to throw you back.
We're going to have a Honey, We Shrunk the Kids moment. And with that as well, it would reach out the nearest neighboring star system, which is Alpha Centauri, in just over 20 years after launch. 20 years. I mean, that's still insane.
That's within someone's lifetime. Before, it was just like we could do it, but it would be generational. Like, all right, you're going to go. You're not going to make it. Your kids or your grandkids are going to make it. Train them well. Now it's like, yeah, you're going to make it. It's going to be boring for 20 years.
Yeah, have fun.
Bring some comic books. Enjoy. Have fun.
Good book.
Couple good books, yeah.
Milner also went on to state that for the first time in human history, we can actually do more than just gaze at the stars, that we can actually reach them.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of this is kind of pie in the sky. There's a lot of stuff they have to do for here. They have to build the array on the ground that has these focus lasers.
Yeah. That
when they deploy this up in space, it will unfurl this incredibly thin solar sail, basically.
Yeah.
That's kind of almost micron thin. The lasers will be focused. Those shoot. They'll hit the back of it, and that actually is what propels the craft. And this is unmanned. I mean, this is all going to be just kind of like micro robots, sensors, cameras, things like that. But we've never had anything go that far.
Ever.
We've gotten, we're just now getting probes out to like Pluto and those areas. And it's taken decades for things to get out there. Yeah. I think like the Voyager is one of the ones that's the furthest. It's just way out there at this point.
Mm-hmm.
But we still have not made it to any other stars or anything like that. We're still limited basically to our general solar system of what we can see. So, I mean, it's nice that they're actually pushing to expand it, to actually do something else.
Yeah.
Because NASA's like, hey, we're going to try and get people on Mars, which is great. We need to do that. But now, we can kind of look beyond it and kind of leapfrog out and do these other parts.
Exactly.
Because if you do that, if this works, think about it. If we colonize Mars, get people out there, and you use this technology to send stuff back and forth, if you can take 3 days to get to Pluto, it might take you a day of travel to go back and forth. So you could use that for mass data transfer, certain, certain necessary supplies. They could find a way to make that a little bit quicker.
Yeah.
So.
And it's basically, it's sci-fi that's come to life too. Compared to where we've been.
It's one of those, I hope they're not overselling it. I want to make sure it can work. But
yeah.
I don't know. Those rich Russians are just, I love the crazy stuff they do. And then Stephen Hawking has always been just a radical,
He's always been insane.
Yeah, a radical physicist. Gotta love the guy. All right, so go ahead and go on to our last story. It's going to be a little bit of a shorter show today. Actually, looks like we're hitting a little over, maybe about 40 minutes. But brain implant lets quadriplegic man move fingers. So,
Nice.
Ian Burkhart, a 24-year-old quadriplegic, has been granted temporary use of his right hand through a chip implanted in his brain.
Nice.
So once a week, Burkhart goes to a laboratory to get hooked up to the experimental device in order to move his arm for a few hours. Can you imagine making a trip somewhere just so you can move your arm? That's nuts. I mean,
that is insanity.
The device interprets brain signals and sends them to his arm through electrodes. This allowed him to do things like swipe a credit card, hold a toothbrush, and play a game that resembles Guitar Hero called Frets of Fire. It's like basic movements on the frets using the guitar. But I mean, imagine if you're completely, paralyzed from the neck down, and then all of a sudden you can move your fingers and do something. That's crazy.
Yeah, that's in a sense a miracle to them.
Yeah, it is. Stated he became mentally worn out during the first few months because of the concentration needed to move the right muscles, but added that it's gotten much easier over time. So he's going to have to relearn how to do all these things. Mm-hmm. And a friend of mine, when I mentioned this to him, he had actually brought up like a recent episode of Arrow, the TV show on CW, where they had a character that was paralyzed and they used a chip to kind of help with that. And obviously she just got up and started going around. They fixed it. And everyone's like, well, that's completely unbelievable. Well, no, that's actually a lot more believable now. Like it's in that process, that's way off in the future. But these are the first steps to actually do that.
Exactly.
Because they're talking about they want to improve the tech by making it wireless and moving the electrodes from the brain to the scalp and replacing the strapped-on arm electrodes with implants.
Ooh. So
they actually implant the parts into the muscles and use a wireless they can just put on there and actually have that kind of work with it.
Nice.
So there's a lot of stuff they can do with that.
Really, they can. Seriously, I think of a lot of people. Well, I bringing in a little something personal. Well,
go for it.
My mom, basically, she has Parkinson's, and they have the deep brain stimulation surgery. Mm-hmm. They have wires going over to here to clamp onto the brain to stop tremors. So that's amazing. I wonder what the kind of technology they would be able to bring into that as well.
Yeah, it's a possibility. They could bring a lot of that stuff in because, they're doing a lot of research into kind of bridging the gap of what your neuron to muscular, that connection, being able to bridge it with electrodes versus actual nerves.
Yeah.
And if they could do things like that, it could change interface between people and machines because if you can control a muscle, you can control an output.
Yeah.
So people that are paraplegic may be able to control like a robotic suit or something that's doing it to move around or do something for them, which they're working on that now as well. So, yeah, there's a lot they could do.
The future is now.
I'm trying to think if there's anything else because we went through this quicker than I thought we would.
We did.
I was like, we're going to have too much to talk about. No, we're not. So, yeah, it's going to be a little bit shorter show today. But we'll go ahead and get our social media stuff out of the way as well. You can find me at Zenspath, ZENSPATH, on Twitter. Talk to me on there, zenspath.com and Zenspath Podcast, which is on iTunes. And, of course, this show you'll be able to find... we'll probably have this one up on Zenspath for our YouTube page. Normally, you can find it under Strangely Entertaining over on YouTube, which is Caleb's channel. And then his Twitter as well, Strangely Entertaining. And then Rachel... hers, the outrageous that she does for Twitch. Literally spelled that way. What about you?
You basically, if you wanted anything, I'm on Tumblr. It's just basically, I'm one of those people. Again, millennial.
I've never actually used Tumblr. I'm not gonna lie.
It's basically. You can find me at Pacific-Rim on Twitter, but for my Tumblr. It is Pecking Spider, and that's the dash in between there. PEKING-SPIDER.
Okay.
Yeah. Nothing really special there. It's just cosplay and
nice.
All that.
Yeah, I've seen some of yours. It's actually pretty impressive. All right, so yeah, this has been our shorter episode, but this has been. I almost want to say the Zenspath Podcast just out of habit. I was about to do that. Like, this has been the Zenspath Podcast. That's my show. This is still Caleb's. Don't worry. This has been the Nerd Edification Hour. I've been Jeremy.
And I'm Remy.
And we will talk to you later.
Have a good one, guys.
Peace. All right, welcome to the Nerd Edification Hour. I'm Jeremy.
I'm David.
Caleb and Rachel are still out of town this week, so I'm back once again with another friend of mine here to join me. David was nice enough to just kind of at the last minute literally join me.
It's been fun.
Yeah, it's been interesting. Learning experience for him. So we've got our normal gaming Nintendo news. We've got, sadly, way too many deaths that have been occurring for movie and TVs. A little bit of Game of Thrones talk thrown in there. Some Ghost in the Shell going on. Our nerd vocab as we normally have. And then we'll finish off with some of our science and technology news.
Fun stuff.
So to lead us off, we'll go ahead and get into some of our gaming and Nintendo news. Players have modded Goku into Super Smash Bros. For Wii U.
Wow.
People kept trying to push remember they had the voting last year. They were trying to push in all these different characters, and that's how we got like Bayonetta and some of these other weird little costumes. People were just like, "Oh, no, we want Goku," and they said, "No, we're not doing it."
Not a Nintendo character.
Yeah, well, it didn't have to be a Nintendo character. There's one from outside of it, but so pretty much they did kind of a texture and sound swap for Ryu. It was done by creator Kevin the H. That's his actual name online. But it looks like Goku, and they've even made it sound like Goku. Like when he does the fireball and stuff, it's the Kamehameha and all that, which is great. So it's not a full, like, hey, we put Goku in here, but at least it is kind of something. They're kind of messing around with it. I saw some other ones when I went looking into it where some people had tried to make Captain Falcon look like a Captain America type character.
Okay.
Like they'd recolored him, gave him a shield on his back and some other stuff. And they turned Samus into Iron Man.
Okay.
Like with the orange. Just looked weird. So, all right. So what else is going on? We got a game that launched today.
What is it?
Star Fox.
What? They made another one?
Not that you haven't already guessed.
Yeah.
Star Fox Zero and Star Fox Guard both came out today. This is the latest release from the Star Fox series, which there's been a number of them starting all the way back from the original Super Nintendo, which this actually has roots in because some of the walker, like the ship can turn into like a little walker and run around. That was actually from the unreleased Star Fox 2 on the Super Nintendo.
Okay.
They got that game almost completely finished, but then Nintendo decided not to release it at the last minute because they thought it would overshadow or get lost with the Nintendo 64. They probably should have released it because the 64 got delayed like a year and a half, 2 years, so it would have been perfect. But at least now we're finally seeing something of it. The other game that comes with it is Star Fox Guard, which we saw back at E3 2014, known as Project Guard, which is kind of a tower defense almost. You put your cameras in there and you can see the different locations of and use those to shoot robots that are trying to get the middle of it. I'm looking forward to playing that, especially tomorrow night with our game night that we have every week.
Yeah.
Because we'll just take like one of our quietest and shyest person as the camera person, and then everyone is yelling at this person in the TV to shoot something.
Okay.
It's gonna be messy. All right. So what else we got?
We got the Star Fox anime short. It's a joint effort between Production IG, the people who made Ghost in the Shell, and Wit Studios' Attack on Titan, and Shigeru Miyamoto.
It's Star Fox. No real big surprise in that one.
Yeah.
He's kind of getting more into movies. Like he's helped work on this. He did the couple of the Pikmin animated shorts they released as well. Those are really good. All right, what else we got here? Yeah, it's a short. It's about 13 minutes long, but it's a lot of people have been going online and asking like, hey, can we get this as either an ongoing series or like some kind of film, because it's actually really nicely animated. I was kind of surprised. And people are joking like maybe it shows off the NX.
Right.
It doesn't, but there's a part where Falco is playing a video game where it's on this, HD TV that's all curved and everything, and he's got a controller that has a screen built into it. Not quite like, it looks more like, what was it, the NVIDIA Shield?
Okay.
Where it flips up the screen almost. But he's playing a version of the original Star Fox on it.
Okay.
It's like those graphics, but more advanced. And people are like, maybe that's the NX. And like, no, Nintendo just needs to say something about that.
Yeah.
All right, so moving on. This is one that me and you've already had a little discussion about that I'm sure is interesting. More likelihood that the PlayStation 4 Neo, as it's kind of being called, or codename Neo, has kind of surfaced to show what all the advancements are. You want to go down the list of some of the changes they got?
Yeah, sure. They're adding in an 8 Jaeger core. It's going to be running at 1.6 gigahertz to 2.1 gigahertz.
Well, that's it's the original PS4 to then changing what it's going to be on the other one. Sorry, that's my fault.
Okay,
so it's 8 Jaguar cores. at 1.6 gigahertz on the normal PS4. The Neo is going to be the same chips, but jumped up to 2.1 gigahertz.
Which is pretty strong.
Yeah, so 1.6 to 2.1. The current GPU is the AMD GCN 18 CUs. I should have looked that up. That's my bad. That's running at 800 megahertz. It's going to be an improved version of that same chipset with 36 CUs and running at 911 megahertz. So
the memory for the old PS4 was 8 gigabytes GDDR5.
Mm-hmm.
They're upgrading it right now to a 17 gigabytes to 8 GB GDDR5, 218 gigabytes a second.
Yeah, because that's the biggest thing. It's the same RAM, but it's going from 17 gigabytes a second read speed to 218 gigabytes a second.
It's a big number.
Yeah, gigabits is usually what that is, but that's a lot. So there's not going to be any Neo-only games. They can't go in and be like, okay, this one's Neo exclusive.
Mm-hmm.
But that kind of also the flip side, it has to be able to play on the normal PS4. So it's kind of forcing developers, every game they make is going to have two versions on the same thing. So that's kind of doubling the work that every developer has to do, which just kind of led to some issues, specifically with BioWare co-founder Greg Zeshik. Says he's pretty much not happy about it. Told GameSpot, I'd say that'd be a gigantic pain in the butt, and yes, I did edit that, that flies in the face of the purpose of consoles. The whole purpose of consoles is the set of requirements that you work against from a hardware perspective. To change that is complete lunacy.
Strong words.
Yeah, very strong words. I kind of get what he's talking about. People had the same argument like when the Wii U came out, why third parties didn't want to make games for it. Its architecture was different enough from the PS4 and Xbox One that they would have to make two games each time they did it. One for the lower end and then one for the higher end stuff. And that's Sony's kind of forced that now on their own console, and it's surprisingly early. Like we get revisions. We talked about this the other day. You know, hardware revision as they become cheaper to produce, things like that. You know, you get the 360 Slim, you get the PS3 Slim, things like that. But they never change the actual core of the system. They play all the same games. They function the same, other than maybe I think the Xbox, the Slim, they added the HDMI port. And then they had the later model had the Kinect, camera connection built in.
Right.
Nothing you couldn't really deal with on the other ones.
Mm-hmm.
This is the first time it's actually changed the processor, changed the RAM, upgraded all these different parts of it. So it's kind of separating it, especially it's just over or right around 2 years that the system's been out. That's really early to just kind of make another console.
Right.
But I don't know. They're going to sell them at the same time. They're not stopping production on the old PS4s. They're still making them.
So they're just going to be selling two consoles at the same time, different hardware?
That's the weird thing. Is so if you go in and you buy a PS4, and that's kind of upset a lot of people because the PS4 has sold a lot of systems.
It has.
Because they're like, yeah, we're going to have these they bought the PS4 on the promise of 10 years of games that are designed for the PS4 to run really well. And then now they're like, oh, okay, now that we've sold so much, here's another one.
Right.
And yours is now old. And people are just not happy about that.
No.
We'll see. All right, what else we got?
Platinum's game president steps down. He was from the Japanese game industry site Game Business.
Mm-hmm.
Tatsuya Minami stepped down as the company celebrated its 10-year anniversary. He stated he left in late March with Platinum Kanachi Soda reportedly taking his place. It is unknown if Minami is still at the company.
Yeah, we've actually got an update since this. He has officially left the company.
Has he?
Yeah, and they finally updated the page to show, because before Tatsuya was still listed as the company president. The website apparently, last I saw a little bit ago, has been updated to show Sato now taking the place of it.
Since we finally have some confirmation on that.
Yeah, producer Tsushi Inabe and former developer support Seigo Teriba are also joining the company's board, so they're taking some more people and kind of shifting it around. So that's a lot of that is like the leadership roles, the actual developers, the people that have made a lot of the games and stuff that we play, which Star Fox Zero and a bunch of other ones came from. They're still in the same position. They're just kind of, we're still here.
Okay.
So, all right. Quick little one here. Metroid Prime Federation Force has gotten a release date. It'll be August 19th.
Wow.
Have you seen anything on that one yet?
I have not.
Really?
No.
A lot of people were getting pretty upset about it. I'm actually okay with it. It looks nice. It's not about Samus, and that's what everyone's mad about, because it's been a while since there's been an actual Metroid game.
Yeah.
So this is about a group of soldiers, kind of like with a co-op mode that you can play on 3DS.
They're just some random soldiers?
Yeah, and they have little power suits based off of Samus's armor.
Okay.
It's kind of a cool design. It looks almost like a first-person Monster Hunter, maybe, where you're getting together in groups and going out and doing these missions, or an early Halo type thing.
There are some companies trying to dig in on the Monster Hunter success recently.
Yeah, it's a little different. I mean, I just say Monster Hunter because it's a multiplayer game as well for co-op, because you have to work together. But I don't know. I'm liking it. I'm glad to see they actually expand the universe beyond just Samus. But I am also kind of itching to get an actual Samus game.
Right. It's been so long.
Yeah, not since Metroid Prime 3 on the Wii.
Right.
That was no, we had Other M. So yeah, Metroid Prime 3 on the Wii.
Unless you count Super Smash Brothers, then very recently.
That's true. All right, so Microsoft officially ends Xbox 360 production after a 10.5-year run. That's a long time. Sold upwards of 8 million units as of 2013.
Still sounds strong.
Well, it's because it was cheaper.
That.
People would buy them. I mean, I still play my 360.
I sold mine in.
Microsoft's Phil Spencer wrote, Xbox 360 means a lot to everyone in Microsoft, and while we've had an amazing run, the realities of manufacturing a product over a decade old are starting to creep up on us, which is why we have made the decision to stop manufacturing new Xbox 360 consoles. We will continue to sell existing inventory of Xbox 360 consoles with availability varying by country. So, and he goes on to add, Xbox Live will remain active, as will the 360's various stores and online services.
Of course, they're not going to quit that.
Which is kind of funny, because some of the other online services, I know, like the Xfinity app and stuff like that, which I actually used a lot on my 360, they were like, nope, we're going to cut it off now.
Really?
That ended about 2-3 months ago. Oh, well. What we got?
So they got a Dark Souls game board. It's raised $200,000 in less than 2 hours.
That's ridiculous.
It hit the $70,000 mark, their target they were going for.
Yeah.
3 minutes.
Literal speed run of a different kind.
Right. Steamforged Games are the one making it. They've officially licensed it. It's going to have 1 to 4 combat exploration gameplay. It's going to be playable in either solo or co-op modes. Players choose their role from a number of core Dark Souls character classes. Each class has a distinct role to play in the game with a unique set of strengths and abilities.
Yep. With multiple difficulty modes and a high level of replayability, this is a game designed to be deep enough to satisfy hardcore tabletop gamers whilst remaining accessible to newer players.
Prepare to die.
That's pretty much. I mean, the actual figures and stuff they have with it are really nice, too. I have to. I need to go and see how much it is to order one of these, because I wouldn't mind getting one.
Right.
It's probably going to be like $200. Oh Lord. So Gamefront, which has been a website that's been around since 1999, is going to be finally shutting down in April.
Wow.
So 99 to 2016, huge source of mod downloads. Last time they listed it was 328,000 mods, patches, tools, and more. And sadly, all of that will be going away the day it shuts down. So if you want to find any old mods or updates for games that are no longer around, you might want to get them now because it's going away.
Get ready for winter, boys. Start stockpiling.
You think somebody would just, just get all this stuff, database it somewhere, and just do something with it so we can still
access it? They might move it over to the Nexus or something like that.
All right, so we're going to go and switch over to our movie and TV news, which is going to start off pretty bleakly. Which I just noticed the kind of irony in this. We're talking about 3 deaths and then Game of Thrones.
Pretty fitting.
Probably is. Sadly, none of these people have a chance of coming back, though. Unlike Jon Snow.
He's dead. Let's be honest with ourselves.
Really?
Yeah.
I think he'll come back in some way.
He told Obama he was dead.
Oh, okay. That's not good.
Yeah.
All right. Starting off, this is the one that I was most upset about because I listened to a lot of his music when I was a kid and still now. Prince, otherwise known as Prince Rogers Nelson, has died at 57. Died on April 21st. Cause of death is still not known. They're actually doing the autopsy today to figure out exactly what had happened. He's known for such songs as like Purple Rain, When Doves Cry, Little Red Corvette, 1999. He had 39 different studio albums ranging from 1979 to 2015. And I did not realize like how many songs he was credited for writing as well, like over the decades.
All the
like
way up
even
until
recently.
2015. Yeah.
Yeah, not counting his 39 albums, but like ones that he wrote and produced for other people under like pseudonyms and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Good Lord. He's been everything from Madonna, Cyndi Lauper, even some of like the newer ones they did. I was like, all right.
Down the man.
Yep. Who else has died?
Doris Roberts died at the age of 90.
That
She
one's
was
been around.
best known as Ray's mom, and Everybody Loves Raymond.
I knew her as the grandma mostly from Grandma's Boy.
Mm-hmm.
If you ever watched that.
I have.
Yeah, that one was actually pretty funny. It was kind of sad to see that one, but she lived till 90.
That's a long life.
That's a good run.
That's it.
Yeah. I didn't find a cause of death on that one. I think it may have just been age.
Natural causes.
That's I'm hoping.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I know it sounds bad for hoping how someone died, but if you're gonna go naturally, I guess.
Best way.
Yeah. Joan Marie Laurer passed away April 21st. A lot of people know her as the WWE wrestler Chyna. She died at 46. Right now, they're kind of looking into a possible overdose.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I remember seeing her pop up a while back. I'm not the biggest wrestling fan, but she became very prevalent for a while, and she got involved in a lot of different little medias and different things like that afterwards. So, still, like I said, that's kind of 3 deaths that just popped up all within 2 days.
Okay. It's
2016 can just slow down,
right?
Just stop. If you've done enough.
Get the ball rolling.
Yeah, they've already ranked it. I think this year compared to the last couple of years, is over double the amount of people that have died so far.
Oh wow!
Yeah, it's just crazy.
We did a study on that.
I just happened when I was looking online. I was like, that's really depressing numbers.
Right.
So, who else deals with death?
Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
We can expect that number to triple with season 6 coming up this Sunday.
I still think Snow's going to come back.
He told Obama.
Yeah, tell him lots of things.
Last season ended about where the final book, A Dance with the Dragons, ended.
Mm-hmm.
The next book, The Winds of Winter, doesn't even have a release date yet.
Yep. So this is going to be the first season that actually goes past George R.R. Martin's books.
I heard he is helping them write the season, though, so it's not completely without his guidance.
They pretty much will do whatever he says at this point for fear that he will really kill them.
Yeah.
And I think he could.
He very well might.
What if he just looks at somebody and is like, I'm just going to write your death, and they're just like, oh, God, I'm so sorry. Like, I don't even know how that's going to hurt me, but I don't want to chance it.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know. They left the season off in kind of a weird spot last time. I'm not going to spoil too much, but, we all know about, Jon Snow with the whole thing with him. Yeah, I know, but we don't know what happened from it.
I believe he's gone.
Well, I think he died, and I wonder if he'll get brought back.
At this point.
As either one. Can you imagine him as a White Walker?
That's what I'm saying. At this point, I'm rooting for the White Walkers.
Just to heck with it. Just cleanse it all.
This world needs to burn.
Or freeze,
It's hurt my soul enough.
All right, so move on to some of our next one. Ghost in the Shell casts Scarlett Johansson as cyborg Motoko Kusanagi. Sorry.
I heard the West is actually freaking out, calling it whitewashing.
Yeah, there has been a trend, and this is actually something that's happened in Hollywood over the years, where they'll have prevalent Asian roles or other races, and then they'll cast a white person in, which they refer to as whitewashing. The thing with this one is Japan's actually pretty chill about it.
Yeah,
they're they've kind of been looking at comments and so forth, and a lot of them are just like, yeah, we're fine.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of them were citing that the original manga and everything, the creator, whenever he was sourcing it, based a lot of it on Western culture and things like that because he was into it at the time.
Okay.
So they kind of played around with like her look and so forth. And mind you, her entire body is a cyborg body. Mm-hmm. She's just kind of stuck in it. She's not really a living person as normal anymore, which that's part of why Ghost in the Shell is like that. A lot of people like that.
Mm-hmm.
Kodansha first put out the manga back in 1998. And then Sam Yoshiba, director of International Business Division at Kodansha's headquarters in Tokyo, said, looking at her career so far, I think Scarlett Johansson is well cast. She has the cyberpunk feel, and we never imagined it would be a Japanese actress in the first place. And then when he came back from the movie's New Zealand set and said that he was impressed by the respect being shown for the source material. So some people are saying it's kind of just PR speak. It's not how, he's just saying it because they want the movie to go good. And there's been arguments about, they need someone like a big actress or someone to kind of lead this role. And I can kind of see it either way. I get why they did it, and I'm curious how they did it. There are some Asian actresses I kind of wish they would have gone with. I apologize. I can't remember her name off the top of my head, but one of the actresses, one of the co-leads for Pacific Rim, I think she would have done a really good job with it. The woman that's on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. that plays Melinda May, she was also the voice of Milan. She's making some comments about it as well. She's also referred to as whitewashing, so no matter which way they go, it's going to be kind of a touchy subject on it.
I do trust casting directors, though. They get paid a lot of money to make the right choices for these.
True, but there have been times that it just did not work.
Right.
Like you're looking at it going, really?
Why?
Yeah. And it kind of goes either way. There was instances in Thor and things like that, but it's more whitewashing than anything else. So, all right. So we're going to go ahead and move on to the nerd vocab for this week, which the nerd vocab is sign language, also called sign, any of several visual gestural systems of communication, especially employing manual gestures as used among deaf people. And
I remember learning about sign language in Boy Scouts.
Yep, me too.
Right.
I remember that. Good old Boy Scouts. Did that a long time ago. Actually, per our earlier discussion, before you were born.
Right.
That's... Wow.
I'm a youngin'.
I think you're actually younger than my other normal people here. All right, so we'll go ahead and go into our science and technology news. What do we got first?
VW is agreeing to buy back 482,000 diesel cars, model years 2009 to 2015.
That's a lot of cars.
That's a lot of cars.
Yep, and they kind of had this coming. They did it themselves. What else we got going? Keep going.
This is actually coming after Volkswagen found they were cheating the U.S. emissions test. They were actually installed software in the engine that would lie.
Yeah, it would distort the actual output emissions and be like, no, we're doing fine. Just go by these numbers. We're good.
CO2 emissions are good.
Yeah, whenever it gets connected, just give us this reading. Details won't be finalized until this summer, but they state the owners of Volkswagen and Audi brand 2.0-liter diesel cars will receive substantial compensation, which no amount's been said yet. Nothing listed yet for the 3.0-liter V6 TDI engines. So I guess it's a whole other matter. They apparently just lied their butts off for a lot.
VW is also being forced to make investments that promote green automotive initiatives as part of the Environmental Protection Agency ruling. That's just pouring salt in the wound.
Well, they should. I mean, hey, you spent all this money getting around it. Now you're going to spend just as much, if not more, helping to solve this problem in the long run. Like, let's just work on this. They literally brought it on themselves.
They did. No, they did. All they had to do was make a nicer car.
Yep, and they didn't want to. All right, so our last story we've got tonight, this is actually in regards to the sign language. 2 undergrads from University of Washington are getting $10,000 for gloves that translate sign language called Sign Aloud.
Wow.
Kind of interesting design.
What does it do?
They're being awarded this. It's for, what it does is it actually translates in real time sign language to spoken word, which is kind of cool. University of Washington sophomores Naveed Azadi and Thomas Pryor are the 2 that are doing it. Both sophomores there. They won the Lemelson MIT Student Prize in what they call the Use It undergraduate category that recognizes technology-based inventions to improve consumer devices.
Okay.
There were, let's see. Pryor stated, "Our gloves are lightweight, compact, and worn on the hands, but ergonomic enough to use as an everyday accessory, similar to hearing aids or contact lenses."
This will be very useful when traveling abroad.
Or just for a lot of stuff, because there were other sensors before that people have made, but they're real bulky on the hands. They have sensors that go up the arm. I mean, you have to sometimes be plugged into something for it to work. These actually are completely wireless. They have the board on the glove, which were actually pretty small. Like, they didn't seem bulky at all. Like, you could still do things with them. They would take the location data, like with the accelerometer movement, as well as the position of where the fingers are for the flex angles and everything. And then each of those coordinates would be put together and figure out what they're trying to do. And then that would be sent via Bluetooth to like their phone or another device, things like that, and actually speak out loud what they're saying.
Okay.
So, because they were seeing a lot of tendencies where people that were deaf were having trouble communicating with people that weren't, that didn't know sign language. So it would lead to a lot of instances where they were kind of left out of events. You know, they wouldn't invite them to come or wouldn't do things with them because, well, they can't understand them. So, you know, they're being jerks about
difficult.
it. Yeah. People being stupid. But happens.
Are there any other uses for the glove?
Yes, actually. What are they?
It looks like medical technology. They're going to be used to monitor stroke patients during rehabilitation, gesture control, and enhanced dexterity in virtual reality.
Yes.
My personal favorite.
That's like the newest thing with all the VR, is just being able to do stuff.
Right.
So you're just going to have your hands there and just be like, yeah.
One day I'll be able to full dive.
Just whatever.
Right.
Let's do the whole thing. Man, we went through that faster than I thought we would. 4 pages, and we went right through it in 30 minutes.
Right.
All right. Well, I know it's been kind of a shorter week, and I guess we might be combining last week's and this week's show together. So you'll see me twice, and then someone else different times. But as always, you can find us, Nerd Edification Hour, over at Strangely Entertaining over on YouTube, as well as Strange Entertaining, I believe, on Twitter is Caleb's Twitter one. You can find me at Zenspath on Twitter, or you can find me on my normal show, the Zenspath Podcast, over at zenspath.com, or you can look it up on iTunes. David, you got any social media stuff, or
Fortunately not.
You're just hidden from the world?
I go solo.
What version of D&D do you like to play?
5th edition.
Wow, he knew that one right off the bat.
That's the only one I've played. So.
So he won't talk to you online, but he will play 5th edition D&D with you.
Or Dark Souls. Hit me up on Dark Souls.
I think I'm going to eventually get Dark Souls 3 once I graduate.
It's a lot of fun.
I
Over
think if I
40
start
hours.
it, that's going to be it, and I should not do that literally the week of finals.
Much what's been going on with my life right now.
Yeah, I should not do that week of finals. No. So, of course, I go by Star Fox, whatever. All right, well, I've been Jeremy.
I'm David.
And we're out. Peace. See? 30 minutes.